Now, I don't mean to alarm you, but I've made a rather troubling discovery about the human race that I feel compelled to share. While we've gotten mighty clever at making our machines more reliable, why, you can hardly get a jet engine to break down these days even if you tried. We've made precious little progress in redesigning ourselves. The human being, I regret to inform you, comes factory-equipped with an astounding capacity for bungling things up, and no amount of modern engineering has managed to fix that particular design flaw. Well, folks, here we are in an age where cars drive themselves, phones are smarter than their owners, and rockets land themselves backwards on floating platforms. Yet we humans remain stubbornly, magnificently imperfect. We've engineered artificial intelligence that can beat us at chess while composing a symphony, but we still can't seem to remember where we put our keys or why we walked into a room. Peculiar thing, really. Our modern machines are getting so reliable that they practically apologize before breaking down. The newest aircraft can fly themselves through a hurricane while serving coffee, and robots in factories work round the clock without ever asking for a bathroom break. Yet here we are, the supposedly crown achievement of evolution, still clicking reply all on emails, meant for one person and forgetting to unmute ourselves on Zoom calls. The human mind, that supposedly grand instrument, has an unfortunate habit of wandering off just when you need it most, like a cat that spotted something interesting in the neighbor's yard. The statistics tell a sorry tale indeed. Back in 1940, some clever fellows with too much time on their hands figured out that about 70% of all mishaps in aviation could be traced back to human error. Now, you'd think that after 35 years of progress, we'd have improved on that number somewhat. But when another batch of clever fellows checked again in 1975, they found we humans were just as reliably unreliable as ever. Now, after decades of technological revolution, automatic safety systems, and enough warning labels to paper the moon, guess what? We're still managing to fumble things up at roughly the same rate. It's like we've invented self-correcting spell check, but keep insisting on using our own creative spelling. Take this curious list of things that went wrong, compiled by Mr. Sears in 1986. He found that 33% of the time of aviation incidents, folks simply decided to ignore the proper way of doing things, as if instructions were merely friendly suggestions to be considered and then disregarded. Another 26% of the time, somebody who was supposed to be checking somebody else's work was presumably contemplating their dinner plans instead. And maintenance mistakes? Why, they accounted for 12% of all the trouble, proving that even our attempts to fix things can sometimes lead to fixing them wrong. But here's the rub. These aren't just numbers about flying machines. They're a mirror held up to every blessed thing we humans put our hands to. Whether we're building bridges or baking bread, operating on patients or operating moonwalkers, the same human foibles show up as regular as rain. We get short-handed and try to do too much. We rush about like chickens with our heads cut off. We work when we ought to be sleeping. We hand over half-finished jobs with half-baked explanations. We interrupt each other with the regularity of a nervous woodpecker. We ignore the instruction manual as if it were written in Egyptian hieroglyphics. And we do it all with a can-do attitude that would be admirable if it weren't so dangerous. The pattern remains eerily familiar, just with fancier toys. We're understaffed but overconnected. We're rushing to meet deadlines while answering messages. We're working across time zones with bleary eyes. We're handling over-complex tasks with emoji-filled messages. We're multitasking while our smartwatches tell us to breathe. We're ignoring digital manuals just as thoroughly as we ignored paper ones. And we're still maintaining that can-do attitude while juggling 12 browser tabs. What's particularly fascinating is how we've managed to add new layers to our old problems. Alert fatigue from too many warning systems, decision paralysis from too much information, attention fragmentation from constant notifications, overconfidence in automated systems we don't fully understand, the infamous human in the loop becoming the human barely awake in the loop. Now, we've gotten creative with our solutions. We've built AI systems to catch our mistakes, automation to prevent our errors, and algorithms to predict our failures. We've created apps to remind us about our apps that remind us about our tasks. We've designed systems that require biometric authentication, two-factor verification, and possibly a DNA sample just to change a setting. There's an old saying that goes, if something can go wrong, it will. They call it Murphy's Law, though I suspect Murphy was just stating what every careful observer of human nature has known since the first cave dweller tried to improve on the design of the wheel. The trick isn't to deny this law. That would be like trying to argue with gravity. No, the trick is to accept it, plan for it, and build our defenses accordingly. Murphy's Law hasn't gone digital, it's just gotten more efficient. If something can go wrong, it will now happen at the speed of fiber optic cables. Let's look at some modern mishaps that would make Murphy himself proud. Cybersecurity breaches because someone used password 123. $1 million trading errors from someone double-clicking too fast. Space missions gone awry because someone mixed up metric and imperial units. Factory robots programmed with the wrong coordinates by a sleepy operator. Self-driving cars confused by humans doing unpredictable human things. Critical system failures because someone ignored 47 warning pop-ups. And for heaven's sake, let's abandon this notion that accidents only happen to careless folks or shoddy operations. I've seen the most respected mechanics and the finest establishments fall prey to human error. It's not about being sloppy, it's about being human. And last I checked, none of us has found a cure for that particular condition. Now, I don't mean to suggest we're entirely hopeless. We've figured out some clever ways to work around our own shortcomings. We can train people properly, write down good procedures, though whether they'll read them is another matter entirely. Provide decent tools and have others check our work, assuming they're not daydreaming about dinner. We can even design things so they can't be put together wrong, which is rather like making a square peg that absolutely refuses to go into a round hole, no matter how hard you might try to persuade it. The solution isn't to keep piling on more technology, though heaven knows we'll try. It's to accept that human fallibility is a feature, not a bug, of our operating system. We need to design our systems not for the humans we wish we were, but for the humans we actually are, distractible, fallible, and occasionally brilliant creatures who will always find new ways to test the limits of foolproofing. So let's embrace our imperfections while we build our safeguards. After all, the most dangerous person in any modern system isn't the one who makes mistakes. It's the one who thinks they never will. The sooner we accept these truths about ourselves, the sooner we can get about the business of protecting ourselves from ourselves. And that, my friends, is a full-time occupation indeed. Friends, as we've seen today, the human condition is a peculiar mix of brilliance and blunder, and we're all in this together, from the highest-paid executive to the newest apprentice. If you'd like to join our merry band of error-aware humans, hit subscribe and share your stories below. After all, the only mistake worse than making one is missing the chance to learn from someone else's.